Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eyes no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. I am your host, Daniel Greer, and we are coming off a big win. The Grizz take care of business down in San Antonio. God, it was ugly early on, but the Grizzlies bounced back, man. I'm excited. I wasn't supposed to be on this show, but you know, if we win, I am not going to miss the show. The Grizzlies come out top 120-108 down in San Antonio. Another big comeback compared to last season. Same exact kind of thing. Kind of just, early on the first half, it was ugly, and they finally come back in the second half, and finally, the Grizzlies look like a normal NBA team. So, listen, it's Saturday night. We're about to turn up. Let's get going. Yo, we got some new digs. What's happening over there, man? You got your little chart behind you? What is this? We can't hear you, man.
How are you in math?
There you go. What's up?
How are you in math in school?
I'm bad at math, but I do have 10 toes. I've counted those.
You got 10 toes? 10 toes down for the Grizz? All right, here's my question for you. Defense plus paint equals what?
Win,
baby! Win. Defense plus paint equals win. It's a simple formula. It's a very simple formula. I'm a shout out to my in-laws who are graciously allowing me to use their sunroom, which happens to come with perfect props for the evening.
This is great.
Thank God the Grizzlies won because I really wanted to use that chalkboard, and I don't think I was going to use it if we lost because I only would have had inappropriate things to write on it.
Yeah, listen, early on, I think all the inappropriate things were coming out through Grizz Twitter. It was ugly. It was nasty. But in the sense, like you said, a little energy the second half, a little bit of defense effort just in general. It looked like those guys, honestly, it just looked like they finally found a little of mojo. We'll call it Uncle Mojo. And so I think that's what it takes, man. I think it just takes a little bit of finding some mojo on your side, a little energy, a little effort goes a long way. And at that point, shots start falling, you get some calls, and at that point, the snowball that you felt like you were pushing uphill the whole time starts to get a little bit easier, and you get back, and then you can kind of cut it within 10, cut it within 6, and then you're talking about you're in single digits on the road, coming back down from 20 plus. Like that feels like you feel like you're winning at that point. And so that was big. And so tonight, great win out of the Grizzlies, 120-108. We do have obviously a Grizz Teller win, correct? I think we're right.
I believe so. So it was 120-108, which means
119, and it was. I'm sorry, 219, and it was 228. So we're
it's within 10.
Hey, so we're going to give away something to somebody now because I know we had somebody comment on that. We'll announce that by the end of the show. And so it will be a Grizzlies win, 120-108. But want to first say thank you for everybody for joining us. First of all, coming off of the Grizzlies win, we have a lot of people in here right now. So if you can, go ahead and hit the like button. As you come in here, as I always say, wipe your feet. I consider that just hitting the like button, but also subscribing to our YouTube channel at Blood City Media. If you want to have just our content only and you want to stay away from all the Memphis stuff, all the other Grizzly stuff, you're missing out. But if you do, that's fine. Listen, we're not going to turn anybody away. We do also go live over at Grizz 901 on YouTube as well. And if you want to follow us at Grizz 901 Podcast over on Twitter. That's where we do the Grizz Teller giveaway. If you're missing out, it's our playoff of a fortune teller. And Mark Giannotto from the Commercial Appeal was the one who actually predicted the Grizzlies win 112-107. So he's not off far, honestly. And so good out of him. So let's get through these comments real quick. So we have a lot rolling in. Jaren played terrible tonight when we got the win. Goon, bro.
Hey, I'm
hate-
gonna do something I wouldn't normally do and just say kudos for the commitment to the hate.
Yeah, you're committing.
Jared absolutely carried the team in the fourth quarter, and Goon is still coming in off the top rope, just hating Jaren. So I completely disagree with you. I don't think we'll bring up one of those comments, but I gotta commend you for the commitment to the hatred.
All right, and LOL, nope. Jones says Bane broke Wemby's ankles, brah.
Well, honestly, it's amazing. Wemby's ankles don't break every time he thinks about running. So
Zaire looking like a basketball player tonight.
that's my main takeaway.
Who knew?
Listen, we got to keep slandering these guys. As a matter of fact, we need to keep putting Goon's comments up because the more we slander guys, the better they play.
All right, so Chantel, first of all, thank you for watching us live. Listen, we have a good time. I hope you stay the entire show. I hope you have fun with us. Anything that you have that you want to put up in the comments, if this is your first time, I hope it's not the only time. Make it a long time. But honestly, it was fun. Grizzlies are playing the same nights that our Suns play. The Suns?
Listen,
you don't even know the 17th guy on the bench like you would the Grizzlies.
Listen, Chantel's a fan. Chantel's a fan. If you're here during this season, you're a fan.
Gross.
So shout out to you, Chantel.
All right, Volcano, I'm bringing you up for 1 second, and you're gone. He said LFG. I agree. What a second half out of Shane. Zaire plus 27 out of Dak Daniels. What world are we living in?
We're in the upside down.
Goon is a big fan of Derrick Rose. Hey, all right, we hate. All right, so Goon hates Jaren, loves Derrick. Got it. All right, Shane with the dubs. That's too close to the Warriors. But let's get into a little bit. Man, I can't keep up. All right, we're not going to bring up anybody, but I did see a Wemby who did that. I saw that. David Vickers. Wemby who. All right, so let's get into the game a little bit. Come off the top rope for me. Give me a little bit of what your initial thoughts on the entire game, what the Grizzlies did to actually come back and win this one.
Well, the main thing is someone's been back in Tennessee for 24 hours and already hit on an 8-leg parlay for the Grizzlies to quadruple the money. So maybe I should do bet the blood. I don't know. Plus,
you don't even know the name.
I don't even know the name of the show.
And you won $4
because I'm out here doing my own thing. But top rope, the first half had me wanting to pepper spray myself. It was miserable. They left. There was some times where the Spurs, the hardest part of the game for them was deciding which wide open shooter was going to get to take the shot on a possession.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies did not get to the paint, and it was miserable. Then Zaire Williams played like a 10th overall pick. Looked freaking awesome after you and me had basically said, F it, we're out.
Right.
I'm done with this crap. Comes in, does awesome. Santi, who I was like, if you were any softer, you become one of the Charmin Bears. Comes in, and he has a couple of big minutes. Some of it was blind squirrel, nuts, you know the rest. But listen, he got some mojo going. Dez continues to just carry this team. I mean, I know we see the numbers. He's awesome, but what he does night in and night out for this team, it can't be overstated. Like I know tonight it almost looked like he slowed down because he ended up with only 27 and 4 and 4, something like that. Yeah. But dude, his energy and the way that he is adapting to being the number one guy shows, and it's huge for this team. And then Jaren Jackson becoming the go-to guy. I mean, that's like a dream come true for Grizzlies fans.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pull up a boss man's comment down here. Mark got back to the paint points. Dude, that's why I started with the chalkboard. You play connected defense and you get to the paint. And it blows my mind. That's why I want to pepper spray myself when they're chucking up threes and getting down by 18. Because I'm like, dude,
listen,
when you go to the paint, good things happen. Not against the Lakers, but that doesn't count.
Beep, 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 beep. All right, so I don't know anything yet. So don't go spread the false rumor that I'm about to share with you all. I don't know. Let me make one more last effort to check. Do you know who wasn't on the bench tonight? And this is coming from Ryan. So I'm going to give Ryan Meadows, our guy, Ryan, his props. Do you know who wasn't on the bench tonight?
Marcus Smart?
Patrick St. Andrews.
Patrick St. Andrews? Oh, yeah, no. Believe it or not, I didn't notice that.
Nobody else did either. And so we kind of kept that to ourselves. We're discussing it throughout the game. I've asked some media people to ask and answer, have that question answered. Nobody knows. I don't know what that means. I'm not trying to spread false rumors. I'm just saying the dude wasn't on the bench. And the reason is because Ryan first saw it because the offense looked completely different than it had been in the entire season. And they were going more into the paint, like you were saying, Mark was saying. That is completely flipped of what it had been. So I'm just going to say one seems to go with the other. And so I don't know if that means that, hey, Patrick St. Andrews is sick and he wasn't with the team. I don't know. Maybe he got caught down there and is not able to get off of Riverwalk. I don't know. Maybe he fell into the water. Maybe he didn't get the right boat. I'm not sure what happened. But Patrick St. Andrews, the offensive coordinator of the Grizzlies, whatever you want to call it, he was not with the team tonight. And so that was a Taylor Jenkins offense. It 100% was. It looked like it was the different flow, different style than it had been. And so Ryan, pointed that out. And so I've asked different people to ask for me and find out. And so if I get that info at some point during this live show, I will share that with you. But as of right now, I do not know why he wasn't. And it was not announced on Bally's at all. So Ryan, I gave you your props. I have to throw this up. He had a churro overdose. So maybe. All right. So I have not actually asked you about this because he wasn't going to be on here again, but I will say that I did not ask you who your player of the game was, but I'm going to throw up mine real quick. And if you don't agree, well, you're probably wrong.
Who cares?
But my player of the game is Santi Aldama. And the reason I do that is not because Desmond Bane isn't the best player on the court. It's not. But at this point in the season, if this was Ja Morant putting up what Desmond Bane was doing, I would have to give it to Desmond Bane, right? Because Desmond Bane would be his number 2, and he isn't the player of the game. Ja Morant can be the player of the game every single game, just as Desmond Bane, the number 1 option, can be the player of the game every night. He did not have an overwhelming, oh my God, player of the game type game. Santi Aldama, he sucked at times. But, man, he was so crucial for the simple fact that he did have 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. He played well. He finally found some rhythm midway through the game. And at that point, I think the game started flipping a little bit into the favor of the Grizzlies because they finally had somebody else that could actually score with them compared to Jaren. And Jaren was out with foul trouble early in the first half. So he was actually very pivotal in continuing the flow and pushing that snowball up the hill and keeping it going. So is he your player of the game, or any thoughts on Santi?
I probably would have given it to him for a couple of reasons. One, the reversal of his Charmin reputation that was developing. Actually played some solid defense too. And the fact he played 11 more minutes than the guy that I probably am going to give player of the game to just to be different than you. But also was the first guy who came to mind other than Santi, which is Zaire Williams. You'd see up here, Santi had 17, 10, and 3 with a steal. Zaire had 17, 5, and 7. I think he had a steal in there as well. But the plays that both these guys made tonight were just timely. Right? They needed something to happen, and they made it happen. And listen, like I said, blind squirrels, nuts, the rest. But at the same time, really good stuff from both these guys. I'm going to give the edge to Zaire just because I thought when it got to crunch time in the fourth quarter, which has been a spot where when the Grizzlies get within a couple of points, they get within a bucket, or maybe they take the lead for a second. This year, they've consistently given it back or let the other team go on a run. Yeah. And I thought Zaire came in and made a handful of plays that kept that from happening, on both sides of the ball. He had a couple of really key steals, some great one-on-one defense, and then hit a couple of big shots, made a couple of really great passes and reads as well. Just some big-time plays from Zaire. when the Grizzlies needed it most in the most crunch time part of the game. So that's huge. And listen, we were both ready to throw dude completely under the bus after this last game. Then he comes out and plays like a top 10 pick off the bench. So listen, both these guys were awesome tonight, though. You couldn't go wrong either way.
Yeah, I agree. And I even thought about Zaire, but man, he came in so late in the game of really actually contributing enough. And so I had to give that to Santi. And so I love the way Zaire played tonight. I think somebody just said he had a plus
27.
Plus 27. Hey, Smooth Southpaw. Listen, I love good names. And so Smooth Southpaw, down for some plus 27. And that's a Tigers and a Grizzlies little whatever you call it logo, but yeah, what do you call when things put together like a
smooth? I call it smooth.
You call it smooth, whatever. Listen, I'm old, but I will say that tonight overall, the contributing people on this team were more than just Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr., and that's how you win. They had to have that game tonight if they want to compete. You face the Celtics. We're going to hit on that. Obviously, the last thing we hit on the last 10, 15 minutes of the show tonight, we're going to hit on the Celtics and what that preview looks like. I'll be actually doing that show with Bryson. And so if you are a big Bryson fan, please join us. I think he's still in for that. I know he has some stuff that's happening tomorrow that he needs to do, but I believe that he's still good to go. And so we should have Bryson with me as my co-host since you're with the family. And so I want to give you your time. My kid she just had surgery to remove her tonsils. And so we are doing absolutely nothing this entire weekend. She was just in here a few minutes ago, just asking what to do to go to sleep because she's been in the bed all day. And so it's been funny watching my 8-year-old now try to deal with the boredom of life because she can't do just whatever she wants.
I want our friends in the comments. We love talking about betting on the show. I want you to put bets in the comments on who's going to be in more pain tomorrow night. Daniel's daughter, who just had her tonsils out, or Daniel having to do a post game after this Grizzlies team plays the Celtics.
Listen, it's going to be terrible, but it's going to be fun. Listen, we won this game. I am thrilled at the fact that they won this game. I'm excited. You're not going to take much from me because I'm expecting to lose tomorrow. Okay, let's just put that out there. And so we'll see. Yeah. But overall thoughts on the game, just in general, because my thoughts are that the energy finally picked up. I'm going to give a shout out to John Conchar. Very first of the second half, when he got the start, first play of the second half, he got that steal. The easy bucket. It just seemed like everything started rolling a little bit after that. And it just seemed like everything they were doing was much easier. And so I think overall the game really got going with a little bit of the energy and the effort plays. And I think that was one of the biggest ones. Yeah.
And they were connected on defense. They were just on top of it. Like you said, the energy mattered. But when you get connected on defense, you constantly put a hand in somebody's face. You make them work for their buckets. And then on the flip side, you go and make life easier on yourself by getting into the paint, Jaren using his strength instead of trying to be a guard out there. Like that kind of stuff, man. It's a winning formula for this team. Yeah. And I think that's what drives us crazy. We don't expect them to come in and beat the Celtics tomorrow. We don't expect them to compete with these good teams, but they should have 3 or 4 more wins right by now, I would think, if they would just play that brand of basketball all the time. And so why they get away from it, why they don't do that, just it's frustrating, but it was really good to see him get to that in the second half. I am going to not jump into saying I expect to see that consistently from this team because we haven't. But if they keep getting to that, they live in the paint, they communicate on defense, they don't leave a guy open in the corner every possession, they can still have good things happen. And then all it takes is having guys like Santi and Zaire have the kind of nights they had tonight. And all of a sudden, you do sneak away with some of these wins, right? Yeah. And that's what we were talking about on the last show.
Listen, and that's what you need is you need to have your core group, right? You need to have Bane games. You need to have Jaren games. And then these other guys need to somehow go off at different times. And they need to somehow work off of each other. And that's really what it comes down to overall is play has to be snowball effect in the right way of you get your shot, I'm going to play off of you. You get hot, I'm going to be the person that benefits off of you getting the double team, such as like a Bane who gets double teamed more than ever right now. And he's playing miraculous basketball. Like, dude is playing like crazy good. But what's something I will say, and this is going to be in my preview, and I've said it. I think I don't know if I said that to you on this show or to you over a phone call, but as D Grum says, you might as well sit Jaren and Bane tomorrow. I have said that, and this is going to be my thing. And this will be the last thing I say on that. My simple reasoning is you're probably not winning that game anyway. And so at this point, you're gonna have an extra day off. So that gives them another 3 days off before you play at the Rockets on Wednesday, the 22nd. If you're to somehow go ahead and say, hey, we're going to take this loss, it's going to be so hard to win anyway with these guys. If we go ahead and take the loss or say we're taking the loss, maybe they don't play their big dogs either. And maybe Santi and Zaire and all them Roddy go off and have a great game. And our 12, 13, 14 guys are much better than theirs. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're definitely going to see that for sure. I want to hit on some Spurs players, but before we get there, one, if you're on Facebook, I see that we're now streaming on Facebook as well. If you're over there, please join us here on Twitter, not Twitter, but on YouTube, because we can't see your comments. And so I know we're starting to do that over there on Facebook as well. So if you are watching that, if you are commenting, I can't see it. And so if I can't see it, I can't react to it. So join us over at Bluff City Media on YouTube. The Twitter people, you know how it is. We can't see the comments. I think you actually have to have a check mark, to actually even comment at all in general. So, yeah, join us over on YouTube. But one more thing I want to hit on the Spurs, just in general. I think they played okay. It looked like they were on a back-to-back. It really did. It looked like the second half they lost their legs a little bit, and they kind of got a little bit lazy. But they did have some really good bench minutes from Cedi Osman. Keldon Johnson looked really good tonight. He went 4-7 from deep. It just seemed like he wasn't, I don't know. It just seemed like there wasn't enough noise from him. And I hate saying that because I know there's a quiet 30 going around Twitter right now. But I just think there's not he just didn't have that ump. There wasn't big stretches where he was just killing the Grizzlies. But he would just go and knock down 2 big shots and that would hurt. But then Jeremy Sohan was just an energy guy. Zach Collins was always in foul trouble tonight. And then Wemby looked good, man. But I just think that Wemby's young, but 19 and 13 off of a rookie, bro, that's tough. That's tough.
Dude, I was telling my father-in-law he hadn't seen Wemby play yet. And I just told him, I'm like, dude, you've got to watch this guy play basketball. It is every time he steps on the floor, he does something that you're like, that just doesn't look like that should be possible for it to happen. It's just freaky. And I think all the Spurs guys had pretty quiet nights, to be honest. But I thought they all had a bunch of solid nights too, right? I do think they lost their legs a little bit. And it's a young team that just hadn't learned how to win yet. Listen, I feel like their season's going to be more fun than the Grizzlies.
Because they have no expectations.
Exactly. I don't think there's going to be much better than the Grizzlies. It's just a young team, so has a lot to figure out. It's a roster that's not a very good roster. If you're the Grizzlies, you're happy that they don't have Devin Vassell tonight because that dude is an absolute bucket. But listen, while it did look like, hey, these guys are on the second night of back-to-back, they didn't quit, right? It wasn't like, they just let their foot completely off the gas. It did look like the Grizzlies just locked in. And so I do want to give credit where credit's due to this team that has not had a lot of positives so far this year. The Grizzlies did earn that win. I didn't feel like the Spurs just threw that away. I felt like the Grizzlies went and took that win from them.
Yeah, no doubt. And it was a game that honestly they had to win, because if you don't win that, then you're going into a back-to-back against one of the best teams in basketball with the Boston Celtics. That's tough in general. And then you're going to play against Dillon Brooks on the road. You're talking about some games that are going to be tough wins. I'm not saying the Rockets are great. The Rockets aren't bad. And the Rockets are going to be tough when we play them next week on the 22nd. But real quick, Chantel wants to ask, how are you guys liking Bismack so far? So I'm going to let you go with that one.
Freaking love him. I'd give him player of the game every game if I could. I freaking love me some Bismack Biyombo. Remember, I told you 2 years ago I was trying to get him to trade us Bismack Biyombo. I was like, who did I want? I said Mikal Bridges. And I said, send me Bismack Biyombo, see what happens. I remember saying it on this show. And lo and behold, he's here now, and he's been awesome, man. And he doesn't do much that's just spectacular, but he does his job every night. He is solid every night. And listen, there's going to be nights where he smokes some layups a la Steven Adams. That's okay. And he's just solid. If the Grizzlies had every one of their rotation guys play just as solid as Bismack Biyombo plays, it'd be a lot more fun to watch night in and night out. So I love the dude.
I think what you think of when you see Bismack is he's not going to be flashy, but in the end of the day, he's the guy that you know what you're going to get, right? He's going to show up. He gets to the game. He does his little warm-ups. They tip the ball, and you know what you're going to get. You know the kind of player that you're going to have that suits up that night. Like, you can't always get that, these young players, and that's okay. And even some older players, they might have hot games, cold games. Honestly, Bismack is going to do his job. And that's really what you can – that's the only thing you can really ask for out of a vet this far and long in the tooth. And he's not really that old. But I will say that he is a guy that is crucial to have on your bench. He's a guy that doesn't need to play every night. But when he does play, he can give you 10 rebounds. He can give you 6, 8, 10 points at times. He can give you a double-double. And I think that's big on a team, especially a team that has a lot of young players, because it helps them, because you know the spot he's going to be in, because that's it. That's his role. He knows his role. He's going to be in that spot, and he's going to honestly look for you as being a younger player to get open and knock down some shots. And so Bismack has been great, and I think that he's going to be very good for this team. I know there's 14 more games with Ja, correct? No, 13 now. 13
Yeah,
now?
that was game 11,
game
so
14.
14.
Yeah. 14 now?
Yeah, 14 now.
Okay, 14 left. And so I'm curious what they do with that, at that point, with what you do with Bismack. You can't let go of Bismack at all, because he's been too solid for you. I'm not saying who they should do or get rid of. I don't know. There's so many guys on this team that they could easily let walk, but we'll see. What's up?
13 now.
That's what I thought. That was 13. Real quick, LOL. Nope. Jones says, thoughts on Rose is roll. Man, that's tough to say. Rose is roll. Now that he's back. Also, no Gilly minutes in the second half. I know why no Gilly minutes, but thoughts on Rose?
Well, there's a couple of things with this. One, with the Rose thing, he can still be a contributor, but I think it's going to be a bit of a hot hand thing until Ja gets back. Because, and that's honestly the main point I took away from this, honestly. The role, if he's playing like that, he comes back with some explosion. He's getting to the bucket. He's hitting some shots for you. That's big. He's going to play some real minutes. The biggest thing for me was Taylor was decided, this isn't working. I'm going to go away from it. Which I'd be interested to see how many fans are going to give Taylor his due on making a decision like that, because we all tend to hate on him for the things that he does wrong, of which there have been plenty of things that are worth criticism. Right. So when he does something that's like, hey, this lineup that has been really good for me for the most part since I started going with it isn't working, and we're scrapping it, and we're doing a complete different adjustment, going with 3 bigs to start the second half. I think that's big. I think that's something that Grizz Nation needs to acknowledge that Taylor Jenkins did, despite how you feel. Because if you're sitting there saying, why does he keep doing the same thing each and every night? You got to acknowledge when he doesn't do the same thing each and every night. But I'd be interested to hear you on Gilliard. I think it was just the size. There's no place for Gilliard out there, right?
That's exactly what it was. Gilliard was outmatched, because they're literally starting Jeremy Sohan off at the point guard position, whatever that lead, right, whatever point forward position is. And they've been doing that. And honestly, this is the first game that Trey had actually been back. And so it was important for them to come off the bench with him. If Trey is starting for them, then maybe you go at matchup based with him. But they knew right away. Jeremy Sohan was trying to get anything he could with the mouse in the house down low where he could actually post up. And what that was actually doing early on, if you saw that, it was having to have somebody else come over. And at that point, you're just running around crazy trying to find the shooters. And that's where a lot of it came down, is it's just open shots. And the ball was getting kicked out because of that. And so I think that was the main reason. There's no reason that he didn't do anything bad. But once they got on the role that they were going on, there's no reason to put him back in. All right, real quick. I'm gonna share Taylor's stuff. I saw that, Chantel. Dude, Bismack is a genuine good dude, and so him doing that, one, outplaying Ayton, awesome, but two, doing what he's doing in the community is really what's important. So we always want to celebrate the good guys, so I had to pull that up real quick. But here's Taylor Jenkins in the press conference. Want to make sure we always put these out there if we can, because you never know what he's going to say. Real quick. Push the button.
Obviously, our lineups are changing. We changed our lineup in the second half. I don't think it was a mentality, honestly, whether we're patching stuff together or not. I challenged the guys coming out of that, LA 2-game swing about establishing our edge. The physicality we needed, one-on-one defense. If we're switching, whatever it is, we didn't have that in the first half. I think, we fouled a little bit too much. Much better job with our, physicality without fouling in that second half. But challenge the guys, how you going to embrace the adversity. We're not going to come up with some new recipe. It's just finding that edge. Let's just focus on going out there, communicating, dialing into the game plan, and playing fast. And I thought that was the case in the second half. I mean, so many different guys stepped up. Really impressed with Zair's play tonight. D-Rod, Jitty. I mean, Jitty started the second half with a strip steal for a layup, and talked about on-ball pressure all night. And that set a tone for us in that second half. And even when we cut the lead, and they even grew it to 19, the guys' spirits were good. They knew that we could break through if we just kept staying consistent with the edge. Big time play for Jaren. One-on-one situations, attacking, getting to the free throw line. Dez, obviously another great game, but so many guys, especially off the bench, just making an impact, when we went on that run. So a lot of the guys that were coming off the bench for us.
All right, so he's hitting on a lot of the bench guys as well. And so, listen, it's always great to hear your coach give you a shout out. And so I think it was important for that in general, for them to hear that, because honestly, they're all getting pretty beaten up on shows like this. You know what? Shout out Twitter Spaces, getting beat up there everywhere. You've been kind of getting slammed a little bit. So shout out to them. Anything else that you have on this game? We kind of went a little bit longer. I think it's fun to celebrate the wins. And so I think we've done a good job of really just kind of outlining a little bit of that. And so I think it's fun to talk about wins. I hate talking about losses. And I saw somebody put out, what's her name? Candy put out. She was talking about mainly like how hard it is in the media in general, to cover teams that lose. It's so tough. But the fact is, though, what's tougher is if you lose the exact same way every single night. That's even worse, because what do you say? Like, we literally are like opening the book and we're on the same page every night. It's the worst, man. But anything else you got in this game?
I got one last thing, because I promised myself I would bring it up no matter how things went. 53 fouls and 62 free throws and 48 minutes of basketball.
Disgusting.
That deserves an effing atrocious, which you can get in the Bluff City Media merch shop. So go ahead and make your way over there. But, dude, 53 fouls and 62 free throws and 48 minutes of basketball. The refs are just out of control, dude. Yeah. I can't take it. It wasn't one way. It wasn't one-sided either, by the way. It was pretty fairly even. Both. I hate it. It's gross to watch. So I'd love if that got fixed.
That would be great if it would get fixed. One thing I will say, we're going to take about a minute break, but stay with us. But when we get back, Nathan, if you don't mind, somebody won Grizz Teller tonight.
I got it.
Did you figure out who won? You did the math?
Yeah, I got it.
One guy said something to us. I want to find out if he's the winner or somebody else is. I don't care who the winner is. I'm just glad we have a winner. So we're going to announce the Grizz Teller winner right when we get back, and then we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit of what we have with the team, anything we want to hit on, and then we're going to get into a preview of the Boston Celtics tomorrow. 1 minute. We'll be right back.
Yeah, because Zach Randolph went into the Blazers organization that had some characters. Underline the word characters, right. Okay? He's coming from Michigan State. He's from Marion, Indiana. And then you go to Portland, Oregon, which it's an entirely different culture, entirely different demographic. He had people around him who were guys from Marion. Hey, you owe us. Anthony, one of the key memories of my time here in Memphis, off the court, I did a Read to Achieve event with Zach Randolph. And the kid who read the most books, his prize was to get to interview Zach Randolph. And the young man, first question to Zach is, what's the hardest thing for a black athlete to learn? And Zach did not give him any, like BS fluff answer. He said, a lot of times the people who say they're your friends, they're not your friends. And you have to pick the people around you very, very wisely.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, Nate, I need to know who won the Grizz Teller.
We have Jay Allen at Ajax Mem.
Nice.
He had the prediction of Grizzlies 118, San Antonio 114. So he was, I think, 6 off of the final total, but picked the right winner. So shout out to Jay Allen. He also commented asking when the winner was going to be announced. So I think he may have known that. But yeah, he's our winner for tonight. So he gets a year-long subscription to Bluff City Media as well as a $100 merch gift card. So we'll be getting in touch with you on how to get that to you, buddy.
Yeah, we'll reach out over Twitter, I'd imagine, and we'll get with you and the bosses, and we'll get everything set up. So we don't have one tonight, no Grizz Teller tonight, but we do have hopefully in the future we're gonna keep doing these. I do have more and more people that are scheduled to come on as we go. A lot of these weekends are tough, and so. I'm trying to have fun with it and show different points of view. And so I have a college basketball guy who I love, and it's college basketball season. We're not going to hit on all of the Memphis Tiger stuff, right? And so I know some people are Memphis Tiger fans, are not. And so if you have somebody and you're in the comment section and there's somebody that you're saying, hey, if you can get him on, put it in the comments. I would love to go ahead. I challenge myself because listen, we've had Tom Izzo on before. We just had Mark Giannotto. We're going to eventually have Jessica Benson. And so we're going to have some people that are kind of all over the board. I want to go back and try to see in the Knicks. If we do play the Knicks, I don't remember when we play them. Who's the lady I had on a long time ago? She now does the play-by-play for them. Cannot remember her name. Anyway, but yeah, we're going to get her. I'm going to try to get her back on. So I'm going to send her a text and see if she'll come back on here. But yeah, it should be fun. We're going to have a good time on this show the rest of the way. We're going to kind of wrap up a little bit of what we have going forward. Anything that you see on this team in general that you're like, hey, could we figure out a way to bottle this up and keep it going? Like what tonight from the game that you saw that we might be like, hey, we might be able to keep this going this direction because of this.
Are we talking about realistic or like, hey, this would be make everyone really happy if it could, but I don't find it super realistic.
Yeah, I think you can give us both. Give me a wish, but also give me something that you're thinking that might could happen.
Realistic, they had a bunch of actions that got into the paint, including Jaren quitting stopping the big guard stuff and started playing like a big. Those are two things I think are realistic that they did tonight. They seem to be able to get to it a lot of nights when they want to. The only time I think they really couldn't do that was against the Lakers. That's the only team I think they had no business being in the paint against. That just couldn't make it happen. In general, I think all that can happen. There's some really good actions that got a lot of guys into the paint, and good things happened after that. Those are both realistic. Pipe dream?
Yeah. Give me your pipe dream.
Zaire.
Ooh.
Zaire doing what he did tonight. Now, we talked about this on the last show. We've seen the flashes. We know he can. But, like, dude, when it's happened so many times where we've seen this kind of thing and then it's just disappeared. If they could do that consistently, it changes the dynamic of this team. Everybody knows it does. I don't know. I'm not ready to be hurt again. So I'm not buying it until it does start happening consistently. But
so our plan, as D. Grimm says, we're going to get and we're going to hack into Zaire's socials.
Whatever it takes.
Whenever he opens up his Twitter in the morning, his IG, it's just going to be straight highlights of him just over and over. We're going to gas him up so well that he's going to believe he's Michael Jordan, and that's okay.
If it works, go for it. I don't care what it takes. I'm just telling you that I am guarding my heart. That's what I'm doing. I'm guarding my heart. I'm protecting it. I'm valuing it. And I'm not choosing to believe I'm going to see that night in and night out. But if it does happen again, like, yeah, that'd be awesome. That is the pipe dream. But there's two things that are super consistent. Great actions getting to the paint. Jaren playing like a pig.
Yeah.
Connected defense. Sorry. I'll give you 3. Connected defense.
I can't count.
I know you can't. That's why I'm holding up my fingers for you. 3.
All right. Well, I'm the same. I agree with those. I think the main thing is the energy. One guy who brought it was Derrick Rose. Darian Hauser said, shout out to D Rose, man. Imagine if his assists, his teammates actually knocked those down because they were like wide open. And so those are big. So, shout out D Hauser, man. Welcome to the show. Have not seen you here, so wanted to make sure we got your comment up. But man, if Derrick Rose's energy, Jitty's energy, a lot of that energy, those energy players is really what you need when they kind of come in and they kind of flip the game a little bit. I think that's important. So we'll see with that. Any of these new comments before we get anybody else? Hey, listen, Goon, the shooter. Thank you. Yeah, as Smooth Southpaw says, most people want it Moody or Boog Night. All right, first
awkward.
We both want it Moody. I do know that, right? We both want it Moody. Yeah.
I'm yet to be convinced, assuredly, that I was wrong. So Smooth, we want Zaire to succeed on here, but I'm just going to prepare you coming into this show. We're not necessarily slanderous, but we are very honest.
Yeah.
And honesty has not been kind to Zaire Williams
Hey,
this year.
Listen, I know we went back over text in our group text we have with a crew of us. We were actually looking at the draft. If you look at that draft, there's not many great players in it in general. Yeah. Like, they're good, they're fine. But if you honestly look at like who they missed on, you have to get all the way down to what? Trey Murphy, maybe Moody, Alperen Sengun. And then at that point, you're falling all the way down to maybe Jalen Johnson, who's now trying to figure things out now.
Yeah.
There's a lot left to be desired in that draft.
Even Book Night, dude. Like,
where is he?
MIA, dude.
Wow. Isn't he the guy that fell asleep in his car in the draft room? Is that right?
There's no reason to bring that up, but yeah.
Bro, when it hits, it hits. It is.
You
know,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's not take a break. Let's go ahead and power through this.
Let's do it.
There's no reason to take another break. Let's go ahead to the Celtics preview real quick. So you're not going to be here. So if you don't mind, let's hit on a little bit of the Celtics because I know it's going to be short and sweet. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and move into the Rockets a little bit because I know you're not going to be here. And so I want to go ahead and hit on both if that's okay.
Yeah.
First thoughts on the Celtics. They are who they are. They're very good. They're not injured like the Grizzlies. What are your thoughts on the Grizzlies? How do you think they approach that game? Do you think people sit? And if so, who?
I don't know if you have enough players to sit anybody at this point, honestly.
Yeah, because hey, listen, if you don't, if you do, how many players do you actually have?
If you're going to sit guys, you're going to be sitting Bane, Jaren
for sure, and D Rose injury back to back.
Probably D Rose, maybe Biz, maybe.
No, but I think you play him limited minutes.
Yeah, it's just you might play him all limited minutes. I just don't know. I just don't know what the vibe is in the locker room after tonight. I mean, I know it's good, right? But it's like, okay, our guys like, hey, we split this. This is our goal for the weekends. It's all house money. Let's go ahead and rest some knees. Or is it, hey, we got a good thing going. Let's try and see if we can get some more of this going as we get into this next game. And try and like keep that momentum going, right? Because odds are the Celtics are going to do what good teams do, and they're going to come out and put you down early.
Yeah,
just be honest about it. But you go into tomorrow, and it's like, okay, you can try and keep it rolling, try and capitalize on some really good things that happen tonight, and then see what happens too, right? Like you're kind of playing with house money. I don't know what they're going to do. I would imagine they sit some guys, but I quit trying to guess what this team's going to do a long time ago. I will be enjoying my evening.
You will be, unfortunately. For me, I will be here. You know what? Fortunately, I'll get to do this. Ryan says, monitor the GG transfer status overnight. That would be interesting because obviously it's going to be a home game. He's going to be right here. And so I'm curious if that is a game that if that does happen, then maybe if for some reason he does get transferred to the Grizzlies, then I would imagine that at that point you're going to set some players because you want to go ahead and get him some run. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it goes because Boston is a very good team. I agree that as Gunnar Shooter says, they're a good team. Why sit them? My thing is, and I've said this, is if you get 85-ish% out of a Bane, Jaren lineup, those guys, I don't think they're good enough right now with what they actually have on this team. I don't think they're good enough to beat most teams. Okay, they have to have a good night, but they also have had good players around them. I think if you set them and you're very strategic over these next 13 games, allow them to have the rest, make sure that they allow themselves to not be injured. You get them an extra day off, maybe 2 extra days off here and there, and you actually get them back at 100%. But looking at this schedule in general, it's Celtics, and then you have 2 days off, Rockets on the road, and then you have a day off, Suns. Chantel, we'll be expecting you to be on here on a Friday night, and then you have a day off, T-Wolves, 2 days off, Jazz. Like you have days off, and honestly, those last 3, Suns, T-Wolves, and Jazz are all at home to finish out the month. And so I don't know what they would do, but if it was my opinion, you have 4 good games with days off in between. The last 3 of those actually have some time off in between, plus they're all at home. This might be a game that, hey, you go ahead and punt one time of the next 13. We'll see. I don't expect them to at this point because you can also say, hey, we've got a win. Let's keep it rolling. There's some energy there. But if you don't play them and you do lose, that's your excuse. We didn't have our guys. And so, which you could probably do that every game. Anything else you have on the Celtics? I want to move into the Rockets real quick, talk a little bit about Dillon and then Houston.
Not really. I mean, if you do end up playing your guys because you have a couple of days off after that, I would hope that they continue with sound strategy at least, right? Like just don't settle for chucking up shots and giving up easy threes. Like play how you did in the second half tonight and then let the chips fall where they fall.
Tom? I agree. Punt on Boston and Dallas. I think Dallas is December 1. God, it's December already. I got to start buying some gifts. All right, let's go ahead and go into the Rockets real quick. And this is going to be Dillon the Villain. He is not returning yet, so it's not a home game for the Grizzlies, but they're going to go on the road. The Rockets obviously have been a very good team. They've been a pesky team. There's been so much talk and so much love shown to Dillon. And he's such a great guy. He's such a good defender.
What a victim.
I love Dillon Brooks.
Victim.
What a scapegoat he was. What a scapegoat Dillon was. Thoughts on the Rockets overall, not Dillon?
Dillon has a turning point every season.
It's coming.
Where everything goes downhill. What better moment than to go 2 of 16 against the Grizzlies because he wants to show out. Listen, I have been a huge Dillon Brooks defender. I said I could see him going and having a really good season with the Rockets. But him pulling this victim card, talking about how he should be the focal point of the offense when he was jacking up 16 shots a game, sent me over the edge. I'm done. Like, that's just ridiculous. So I would love for him to have a 2 for 16 game and just become the beginning of the end of this little honeymoon he's had with the Rockets because it's gross. It's gross.
Who is Dillon guarding?
Oh, he'll be on Dez.
Dez, yeah. How fun do you think they're going to have with that game?
Depends on what you mean by fun.
Oh, listen, I think they enjoy each other. I think they're friends. Anytime,
not that night.
No, not that night. Listen, I played against family I switched schools back in high school, and we literally grew up together, best friends, close family, saw each other every single day of our lives. I switched schools. I then eventually am now playing them. And I had the most fun I've ever had going at their neck, because that's what you do. You do it in practice. You do it growing up, because these guys all kind of grew up together a little bit, from being in the league, early on. Listen, it has to be so much fun. And so I think they're going to have a blast at it. I don't think it's going to get nasty. I don't think Dylan would allow it to get nasty. I think they're going to go at it, and I think they're going to have a good time. But I don't know, man, how much fun that's going to really be. I really do.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to get nasty, huh?
So Smooth Southpaw says, okay. I bet it gets real chippy with DB. I don't think so. You think?
I think you're insane. Yes.
Listen, I'm not a Dylan guy.
With DB.
But I don't
100% think it's chippy. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think every Memphis fan yet to hate Dylan Brooks will be there by the end of that night.
Really?
Dude, I'm almost there. Me. Anyone who's been with the show for a long time is well aware I've come on here and defended Dylan Brooks to the bitter end. The bitter end. And I'm like, dude, F you. Playing this victim card crap, and you were a scapegoat, bro. Get out of here. So yeah, I think any Grizzlies fan that has any kind of heart is going to hate Dylan Brooks by the end of that night, myself included. I'm not answering that question. I'm not dancing on the show.
I'm just watching you, man. Like Dylan is being a weirdo. What kind of goofy dances is he going to pull out?
What a freaking dork.
It's gonna be something stupid. David Vickers. Sorry. I try not to laugh too much because it's terrible audio, but my God. Dylan to Jenkins. Is it a roll? And then
roll and punch Jenkins in the nuts. He might.
And here's our hater alert. Goon the shooter wants Dylan to put 40 on our head.
Doing the troller.
It would be miserable. 100%. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It would be miserable for Dylan to put 40 on our head, because it literally is like right now everybody is getting their whatever off, the rocks off on the Grizzlies on how bad they suck right now. And I agree. I understand. But man, him going for 40 would be the worst. Because as LOL, nope, Jones says, no respect till he gets 40.
Dude, that'd be awesome if he dropped 39, but the Grizzlies won, and somebody in the locker room said, I don't respect somebody until they give me 40.
That would be amazing. The parent in the room, Smooth Southpaw says, Udoka never let DB take the main shots. I agree. Unfortunately, that is the truth. All right.
I was going to make an inappropriate workplace conduct joke about that. Let's not. Let's move forward. All
right. If you got any questions before we get out of here, go ahead and put them in here now, because I'm going to end this pretty soon. But just want to say thank you for everybody kind of turning in here. It's been fun. It's always more fun when we win. I don't know. We'll see. JJ seeing Wemby blocks in his dreams. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Does that mean JJ getting blocked by Wemby?
I think it's meaning to be a negative towards Jaren, but it was as poorly constructed as it was poorly thought out after Jaren carried the Grizzlies to a victory.
See, High Rocket, you've been in here before, and I know you have better English than that. I don't know what that means, but I do believe that the Grizzlies and Jaren, honestly, did better tonight against Wemby. But I do know that Wemby got some blocks. How many blocks did he end with?
He blocked Jaren a ton in the first half, and then Jaren decided to quit playing like a big guard and play like a big man, and things turned around.
Maybe that's what you're referencing. Maybe. See, High Rocket. All right, that's it. Thoughts on the overall, the first 25. New prediction.
You
still the same?
Nope. No, please. Listen, us stealing a win tonight was a step in the right direction. I still think 6 and 19 is within reach. I think you got to get some real lucky bounces or find a real groove to get to an 8 and 17, or 10 and 15 would be a small miracle at this point.
I know we're more positive coming off of a win, but what I saw tonight overall, the defensive effort, Jenkins honestly making some changes and going with different guys. I think that can kind of keep playing like that. Tom says 3 and 22. Tom, get out of here.
Tom's not so optimistic.
No. I will say that they found some things, I think, with the energy, and I think that can make you feel better. I think losing to the Celtics, whether you win or lose, I don't think it matters. Obviously, winning is a big deal, but I think losing to them, not a big deal. You're supposed to lose that game. It's probably going to be a 8.5 point line, I would imagine, at least. And that's big. That's big in basketball. It really is, especially at the Grizzlies at home. That's at least 3 points. So you're talking about it should be 11.5 realistically.
I think honestly, realistic, the optimistic hope would be 8 and 17. I think the most realistic, while still being optimistic, hope is 6 and 19 at this point. The problem is you should have 5 or 6 wins at this point. There's a couple of games you just needed to win that you didn't to get yourself through this stretch. And so, again, it's the NBA, it's basketball. They could find a groove. They could play out of their minds and beat the Celtics tomorrow night. Anything could happen in the NBA. But for being realistic, I'm going to say 6 and 19 is still the hope, with 8 and 17 being pretty optimistic about it.
Yeah, I agree. That's all we have on the show tonight. Thank you for everybody for coming on here and hanging out with us in the comment section. It's always, listen, it's our favorite thing. We say it all the time. And so keep hanging out with us. Make sure you check out the board. The defense plus paint points equals win. Thank you, Nate. Maybe that'll be the name of the show tonight. I don't know how we'll figure that part out, but I think we'll put that part out there somehow. But Shaggy says 9 and 16. I will say that overall, I think the Grizzlies can get some wins. I think that we'll get up to 6. I think 6 is a very doable number at this point. But if you are a fan of our show, make sure you check out the Daily Grind. That's with Luke and Mark. That comes in Monday to Friday every day. I think it's around 9 a.m. I think most of the time they're on time, especially during the week if we don't have weird time schedules, except for after we play the Lakers and it's a midnight end to the game. But also Anthony Sane, check him out noon on Wednesdays as well as Fridays. Sane obviously is a good friend of ours and always repping for us. But there's so many other shows. Join our Discord. We know that who is joining it tonight? Yeah, what's his name? Who won? Grizz,
Jay Allen.
Jay Allen.
Jay Allen.
Welcome to the Discord. Welcome to our being our friend. But that's all we have, man. It's been a great show. It's been a fun time. Hey, you enjoy the family. I know you're back in Tennessee, enjoying the family. So maybe we'll see you this weekend. We'll see. Maybe see you in person finally. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. All right. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in. This is going to be the same exact thing. I'm going to have Bryson here with me. And so it's going to be a fun night. Probably an upgrade from good old Nate. Be nice and tell your friends.